Okay.
All right, you guys let's get the next question.
All right, who came up with the idea of other immortal weapons in Iron Fist?
You should read it. It's great. They're weapons. See, the thing is that there's different.
Are you guys still on that book?
No, we're done.
No, we're done. But when you were on it, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's still good.
No, I'm sure it's great. I just remember once you left, I stopped reading.
No.
Sure you did.
When it happens.
Sure you did.
No, I like that guy too. What's his name?
Dwayne Swazinski.
No, not him. That's ours.
Danny Rand.
The other guy, Aja.
Yeah.
He's good. I like him.
He's great.
Oh, keep him with him
He
up.
stabbed himself in the eye and then he had a baby, so he sort of fell off.
Did he really stab himself in
He
the
had
eye?
some. No, he had an eye infection, and then that like screwed up his work for a very long time.
Really?
That's why he kind of.
McGinnis stabbed his wife in the eye. That's why all his books are like weird.
That's not how you make a baby, by the way. Yeah, good point.
Depends on what you're calling a baby.
Once again, I hope that.
You should put that one. Wait, so who came up with the
Matt and I came up with it on a phone call when we were trying to figure out what to do with the King Moon story. No, we were actually talking on the phone, and I was walking out of my office, and I saw my wife's Enter the Dragon poster. And we were plotting the Kunlun story, and I just looked up, and I just Kunlun, and I just saw my wife's Enter the Dragon poster, and immediately, I think we both peed on it immediately.
Ed wanted to do the tournament, and you know, back at the thing was Kunlun like rotated in every 88 years or whatever. It was on a cycle, and
every 10 years,
whatever it was.
And we were like, what if
in that same
what if
spot
that's
there
the
were other
prize?
things. That was where the other people came from, because who else could Iron Fist fight? And it just sort of
and I was like, okay, what if there's 7 cities? And then the 7 capital cities of heaven, and Matt came up with all the other characters.
Except one of them lived. You took like an animal and a verb and
and then one of them, the Prince of Orphans, is actually loosely based on an old Bill Everett character that was the inspiration that Roy Thomas based Iron Fist on originally.
Same power.
A public domain character. So John A. Man, amazing man.
Are you still talking?
Did you guys?
We're trying to answer a question accurately.
Did you guys set up the all the Iron Fists have almost all of them have died at 33 as well?
That was Matt.
Love that. And you set that up.
David Mack? Is that what you said?
Yeah, David Mack. Absolutely.
And were you going to? That was your next story arc, but then you guys were off the book, so you didn't.
No, we had no. It was. I mean, it was one of those things where like we just started to put it out there, and there was a Wizard article that had a write up on all of them. And there was one guy that did the math. It was Dwayne. Dwayne was the first guy before our last issue. Dwayne called me and said, they're all 33. And I was like, you're the only guy that's done the fucking math.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, and then, talk about knowing that like the book was in the right hands. Dwayne caught that. But
yeah, right.
It was just one of those little, little things we're going to put out there. I don't even think, I think I waited for you and Warren to catch it when I like wrote up the bios and everything.
I noticed it, but I thought you did it on purpose, so.
Yeah, that's great. I can't, so
let's get the next question.
All right, what do you think about Joe Johnston directing Captain America?
Rocketeer, yeah, that's awesome. I did a little happy dance in my hotel room last night when I saw it online. I was like, yes.
Can you show me? Can we see you do it? Can you do a happy dance? Can you do a happy dance with the bee guy?
I did the happy dance.
With this guy, have a happy dance with him.
It's like the Balky Bartakamus dance of
Do the happy dance
guy.
Gremlins 2!
I like Jumanji.
Joe Dante. Gremlins 2 is a good movie.
Doggo is a great movie.
Gremlins 2 is not a good movie. Gremlins 2 is better than the first movie. I'll watch it again. Oh, funny movie. Daniel Clamp, man. You're mistaking it for Fast Times original.
Moving on.
Yeah, much better. So many questions
But that brings up the whole Marvel slate of movies. What do you guys think of that? How excited? Are you excited? What are you saying?
I don't like it.
We're down on it.
Yeah, cool.
Who cares about movies? We're into comics.
Yeah.
Movies are for losers.
The most exciting thing about the Marvel movies is the fact that it incorporates all the guys that work at Marvel. I mean, if you're really immersed in one of our regular writers and you've been doing a significant run on a book, the chances are you're going to be involved in one way or another. And the same thing with the artists, where Adi Granoff particular, worked on Iron Man. So there's a huge give and take between Marvel West and what we're doing in publishing. And the cool thing is that while they're not, dogmatically following our continuity, their goal there is to have a movie continuity. While each movie is accessible, have a movie continuity that, while it may not be exactly what we're doing, it feels like Marvel continuity, and it's got that edginess, and it's going to be a little bit Marvel U, a little bit Ultimate. It's going to mix and match. And even though there may be a twist and turn, you go, well, that's not exactly like the comic. It's going to feel right. So you're not going to sit there and go, ah, man, I hated when they did that. It's going to feel like a Marvel movie.
That was another thing that came up a couple of times when I was there. They're super aware of like this. We can't poison the well with this. We do too many of this cutesy. There's too much cutesy shit, and it's going to be a completely alienating thing. So it's a very delicate. They're very aware that this is like a gift and not something that kind of can be exploited. It's really cool, like that no one, there's nobody sitting in the room going, but how is it going to sell the Avengers in 4 years, or you know what I mean? It's very.
But the same token, the part that is cool, and as near as I can tell, and Jeff, you can probably speak to this, I do not remember any time in film where you could build a franchise separately. I mean, it's one thing to do, 23 Bond movies, but you're not doing 23 Bond movies that then add up to all the Bonds are going to get together for the biggest Bond movie ever.
That's a pretty good idea, though.
Only with the original Casino Royale and then see if that's actually a good idea.
But the idea that they have the ability to be able to put together this Avengers movie and have enough confidence about themselves that they're going to do a Captain America movie and a Thor movie that will help that franchise as opposed to, oh, look at that careful misstep that we made. And they're done in such a way that even if it wasn't as big as Iron Man, the truth is that as long as you get that character out into the consciousness so people know who that is, you do have the ability to be able then to do this Avengers movie.
It's a huge undertaking. It's amazing, the attempt.
And do you feel like it feeds back to the comics?
Oh, yeah, no question about it. I mean, just the awareness alone. People who were out there were like, either they're lapsed fans who forgot, don't buy comics, but remember the heroes from their childhood where people were just like going for the first time and saying, I got to go pick up the comic. It definitely reflects in the sales.
And personally, over just the years that me and Joe particularly have been, at the company to watch the evolution of comics and film and all kind of getting closer and closer. It used to be there was a moat, and the comic people got to watch the film people.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Avi Rod would wave and blow a kiss. Perfect
jet ski.
But it's really been cool. Like we had a great week of doing that Iron Man stuff. That was a blast. Not only just because the fact that they thought to do it, the thought that let's get a bunch of Iron Man guys in the room and just talk it out. And I was like, if I was making this movie, I would so try to do something like that. Man, I hope this doesn't suck because they're doing everything right. And
that would have been the worst though if they called us in and we actually were hands-on in this movie and it really sucked. That would have been a bad thing because then it would have been like, well,
it would have been our fault, first of all.
It also would have been, you see, what the comic guys did, it didn't really help.
No, but it's been a slow evolution to that, and it's really been cool. So that personally, it's just been awesome because it's just awesome to do that kind of stuff every once in a while.
Personally, it's been awesome because it's just been awesome.
Sorry, Mr. Born in the Cookie.
Cool, that's it for your audience